Hello and welcome to my channel Making Crafts. Today I'm going to be making a hardcover for my Happy Planner. And so what I've done is I've went ahead and started by making a little cluster, and I'm using the prints from Line Dot Arrow, and it's her anniversary kit. And so this is from the anniversary kit, so I printed this out. I've put a little oval frame around it that I cut out with my Sizzix, and then I have a book page and some fabric that I have tie-dyed, and I tie-dyed this over a year ago, but I thought it would go with this today, so I'm going to use it. And so then I've gone ahead and stitched around it, and I just kind of did like a little wavy stitch around it. I didn't want a straight squared stitch around it. And then you're going to also need, if you're going to make this, I'm using a piece of chipboard that I've cut down to 9.5 by 7. And then I have 2 sheets that I've printed out from the anniversary kit. I'm also going to be using some acetate, and this is just that cake acetate like you get from Amazon. And I've cut it down to just right under 9. Let's see what it is. It's right under 9.5. So it's I don't know the measurement. It's right under 9.5, just a little hair under 9.5. And so what I'm going to do with is I'm going to start out, and I also have my punch, my Happy Planner punch. I know some people just use a hole punch and then cut a slit. You can do that as well, but I'm going to use my Happy Planner punch today. And so you just want to line the edges of your acetate up. And this is a little hard to do because you can't see it, but you're just going to try to line your edges up. And I'm just going by feel too. And you're going to you're just going to fold it in half, is what you're doing, long ways. Because we need the double thickness of this acetate for our cover. And you could order thicker acetate, or you could use thicker acetate if you already have it. But I'm just using what I have. So I'm just going to, mine got a little wonky, so what I'm going to do, since it is just a little wonky, the acetate is wide enough that I have room to trim it down just a little, so that's what I'm going to do with mine. Just going to trim it down so that the edges line up. They don't have to line up because it's going to be glued inside this and you're not going to see it, but for my sanity, I'm just straightening it so while I'm working with it, it doesn't drive me crazy. And then you just want to press really good. Just keep pressing with your bone folder, getting it good and flat, or it won't fit into your punch. And I'm not promising this won't mess up your punch, so if you are leery about putting this acetate in your punch, then don't do it. This is just what I'm going to do. I'm not concerned about mine. I've used mine for quite some time, and so if I need a new one, I'll just get a new one, because I just feel like using my stuff rather than letting it sit is better. So. But this is just an experiment I've been doing, and I thought that I would try using this acetate in it. So I'm just lining it up, punching it, and there we go. So now I'm just going to take, and this is going to be the front of my cover. So I am going to add glue to this, and I'm going to use, I was going to use Fabri-Tac, but I'm going to use my Barely Art Glue. And I'm just going to take and put lots of glue. I'm trying to get close to the edge, but not too close, because I don't, well, actually it won't ooze because we're going to fold it over. So just covering the back really good with glue. And it doesn't take a lot of this glue for it to hold, so I'm just putting a thin line on, and it will grab a hold. I'm just trying to do good coverage so there's no buckles anywhere. And you know your glue. Whatever glue you use, you'll know how much you need to add, but you don't want to do too much, or your paper, you know, you don't want to use a lot of glue that would wrinkle your paper up. So here we're just going to glue the chipboard to the paper. I'm trying to line up straight because I don't want my paper to look crooked on the front. And so then I'm just going to take my bone folder, and I'm just going to press. Just pressing that glue in really good so that it doesn't come loose. And you could use double-sided tape for this. I didn't even think about that till I got started, but I do love using my glue. So that's what I'm going to use. And so then you want to just cut across your corners, but don't cut up to it. Let me hold it up so you can see. You're going to leave a little bit of gap there so that you have a little bit of paper left. And this will be so your corners will fold over nicely. And don't worry if your paper on the back, you know, these are not even, or these are not even with these. That's totally fine. because we're going to cover that up anyway. So then we just want to take our bone folder. It's just like making, if you've ever made a journal or a mini album, it's just like that. You're going to be working your paper slowly so that you can get it to fold over without wrinkling and buckling. You just want to work it slowly so you don't tear your paper either. You don't cause any issues with your paper. So just working it over like that. I'm just going to go along the edge here. And I'm just going to do each edge the same. I'm just going to work it just like I would if I was covering a book cover. I'm just going to keep working it. Okay, so now I'm just going to start on the sides, and I'm just going to add glue to my flap. Just adding enough glue that it'll hold it down. And I'm going to press this little corner in here. I'm just going to fold it over and just press really hard with my bone folder. And just keep working it till the glue takes hold. It takes just a minute because I am using liquid glue. If you're using double-sided tape, it's going to take hold immediately. And so then I'm just going to press these little corners in. I'm just going to, don't want to tear them, you just want to work them in. Just working them out of the way so that when you fold this other piece over, it's going to fold smoothly. So I'm just going to do the other end first. Along here, and then once again I'm just going to press these in and just be really careful. Don't tear your paper, just do it gently. And then I'm going to add glue to the next flap on the sides, and we'll do the sides of it now. And I don't think you have to do top and bottom first or sides first. It doesn't matter. It's just it's just what I do. You can start either edge you want to start on. I'm just going to press that down. Make sure everything is crisp and smooth. Let's turn it over and see how our corners, oh, they're looking beautiful. I love when they turn out beautiful and not buckled out and just smooth. We're just going to do the same thing on this corner. Make sure we pressed our corners in. Get them all pressed in. And then we're just going to fold it over again. And we're just going to press down, making sure we get everything nice and smooth. And once again, we're not worrying because this side and this side is not even. That's okay because we're going to cover it up anyway with more paper. Just trying to get our cover on the front to look good first, and then we'll figure out this paper. So I'm just going to cut this paper down a little smaller than the cover. So attach our acetate piece. We're just going to take, and I'm going to use Fabri-Tac for this because I like to use Fabri-Tac for things that, when it's not just paper. So what we're going to do is first I'm just going to run a bead on the inside of the acetate. Just run a thin bead all the way down on the inside edge that's not going to be seen. So you just want to go to the very edge of it and just run a thin bead along the edge there and just press it. Use my bone folder. Make sure your edges are lined up when you do that you don't cause it to buckle. Okay, and then you want to decide what is your top and what is your bottom, and I'm trying to decide mine now. I like it like this. So you're going to have to measure, or just if you have a mat like this, lay it on it, and then you're going to allow a 1/2 inch. Let's see here. So when you line your acetate up, you want to line it up so that this sticks out about 1/2 inch, and then with your cover on, it should make 7.5 across. So now I've just got to line my acetate up even up and down as well. And I'm just going to line it up on my mat here to make sure everything fits and that I get my 1/2 inch correct. Okay, so now I'm going to take it back off and I'm just going to add glue. I'm actually going to add glue down the back of my cover. So you just want to run a bead down the edge of your cover. I'm coating it pretty good. That whole little bit there is getting coated with glue. And then I'm just going to line this back up. So you want to pay attention that you're lining it up around a 1/2 inch, and then that you're getting your acetate centered up top and bottom as well. Just take a moment to make sure everything is lined up, and then I'm just going to flip it over and I'm just going to press down. Just pressing it onto the cover. So once you have your acetate glued on, then you want to take your background sheet that's going on the back side to cover it all up. And this sheet needs to be at least 9 1/4 by 6 7/8. So that way everything gets covered really well. So to attach the back cover, I am going to be using my Fabri-Tac. And I'm just going to add glue along the edges and through the middle as well, because you want everything to attach really well. You don't want this coming loose. And this has got to cover up the acetate. And so you just want to kind of even it out on the back so that you've got the same amount of edge showing all the way around. And it's about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Let's see how that fits our cover before we continue. And that fits really good. I like that. So now, and I'm going to have to remove this here because I don't like that showing through. So, and I'll probably put a piece of paper here that matches this one, or maybe like, it's kind of like that came from the kit, so that it'll all blend here since this is clear. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the decoration to the front. And so I'm just going to glue that on. So I'm going to glue it on with Fabri-Tac because once again, I'm using fabric to paper, so I'm going to use Fabri-Tac. And the cover's just as pretty like that without any decoration. I wanted to add a little bit of decoration. And I apologize for all the crunching noise in the background, but my son is in here with me as I'm crafting, and he is eating tortilla chips. So he is crunching pretty loudly, but I don't think he realizes it because he has headphones on. So I'm not going to center it up and down. I'm going to center it side to side, and then I'm going to make it more towards the top, I do believe. Yes, I like it that way. So let me see if I can get a good view of it. And just press it all down. And I do like that in my cover. So I felt like it needed just a little bit more. It was sort of plain like it is. So I've brought out some of my Tim Holtz botanical layers, and I'm going to layer up this cover quite a bit, and I'm going to use some crocheted lace as well. So I'm going to add the lace first, and I'm just going to run a bead of Fabri-Tac down the front of my cover. So I'm just adding the fabric. I just have to make sure I'm just adding the crocheted lace, but I have to make sure which is the right side. It's hard to figure it out sometimes. So there we have our lace added, and I'm just going to trim it off. Okay, and so now let's decorate it up. So I'm thinking of adding a flower garden at the bottom. So these are just the flowers from Tim Holtz. Let me get that right there. It's just a little loose. Since do that to the top too. Make sure I get it really good up there. We don't want it coming loose. So then I'm just going to add these flowers. I'm going to kind of interlock them, and I want them going over the frame a bit. I'm thinking about right there, and then I'm going to add a little butterfly up here, and I'm thinking these roses, let's try to slide it down in there but over, and then another butterfly maybe right here. So I like that. I like to really add a lot of decorations to covers, so I think this will be good. So I'm going to start just adding the layers. And you could use your Fabri-Tac for this, but I am just using my Bearly Art Glue. I think it'll hold really good. I'm just going to hold it there for a minute. Okay, we'll just add this little butterfly. And this cover, I like to redecorate my covers different seasons and different times of the year. So this cover is very summery, and so I'll probably change out the cover in the winter or fall. So I'm not worried about it. I know some people laminate their covers, but I'm not going to worry about having a laminated cover since I'm going to change it out so often. Plus, I'm not really rough on my covers anyway. Just adding this little cluster here of flowers. Make sure I got lots of glue on it though, because I do want it to not come loose. And this is just a little bit different from paper. It's got more of a slick feel to it. If you've ever used these, you'll know what I'm talking about. I do want to leave that loose for just a second, because some of these are going to slide up under there, kind of like, I think we're going to do kind of like that. So I just want to leave it just a little loose so I can put these up under there. Kind of make a little flower garden around the frame. So I'm just going to have it layered up like that, and I want these, just these little buds to be over the frame here, like they're growing over the frame. And then I'm just going to add another little butterfly. Can't have too many butterflies. Love the butterflies. I'm just going to stick him about right there. Let me see. Make sure everything is holding tight. Just want to hold it down for just a minute. Everything seems to be on good. So there is our little cover. And you could add a pocket right here if you wanted to. And I'm not sure, I went back and forth about adding a pocket or not adding a pocket. So I can always go back and add a pocket later if I decide I want one there. And I'm going to go back and add a piece of paper here so that this looks a little different. Maybe I can show you now with this one. Let's just punch this. And then I can punch it and cut it off. So I can show you what I mean by the difference it's going to be when I add something else behind it. And I'm using a classic Happy Planner, and I know this punch is for the larger one, the big Happy Planner. I used to own a big Happy Planner, so that's why I have the larger punch. And so once I switched out to the classic, back to the classic, I didn't change it. I didn't get a different punch because that one works. It's got the measurements on it too for the regular, for the size. Okay, so see how that looks a little better, having some paper that matches. So that's what I'll just leave that for now, and then I'll go back and add something else later. And here's the completed cover. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.